It was a 2-round demolition. It's what the doctor ordered. It's what the boxing fans wanted to see. It's what we kind of expected.
And it was a brutal KO. And that sort of exposed Ngannou for what he is. I've got to be honest, I didn't think Anthony Joshua would have done that to Ngannou. I don't think he should be in the professional ring again. I really don't think he's got a future in boxing.
Joshua against Ngannou is only a payday. It's only a payday. He doesn't need to do it to build his brand. He doesn't need to do it to improve his ranking. The best part of it was that it was a one-up on Tyson Fury because he knocks him out in 2 rounds when Fury couldn't.
Hello and welcome to The Verdict with me, Carl Froch, and my good friend, George Groves. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Cole. Really, really good. Lovely weekend of boxing. How are you doing?
Yeah, decent. I'm all right. You know what? I've got a bit of a chest infection. I've been complaining about it. I don't hardly ever get ill, and it's come down with this cough. My wife, Rachel, keeps calling me like man flu, saying I'm a bit of a wimp. But
right.
Yeah, good weekend of boxing. Before I start crying and getting my violin out about the bad chest cold. Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou. Let's go straight in with it. What's your verdict? What did you reckon? Is AJ back?
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of the AJ back chat, to be fair, Carl, and I don't think Joshua likes it either, but it was a 2-round demolition, less than two rounds, and it's what the doctor ordered. It's what the boxing fans wanted to see. It's what we kind of expected. Certainly what I expected the fight with Fury and Ngannou to be like, but it wasn't. And obviously after their tussle over 10 rounds, it sort of throws a cat amongst the pigeons a bit, and you're asked your predictions beforehand, and you want to keep it relatively interesting and fresh. But obviously now with hindsight, you're like, Joshua dropped him heavy in the first round because he decided to go southpaw, which is never a great idea. If you're not a very good boxer, don't switch it. And then second round, he drops him again, and then he's got a free shot, and it's incredible knockout. What was your verdict, Carl?
I was initially shocked. I was like, I didn't see that coming. What has just happened? What has gone off? And it was a brutal KO. And I just thought to myself, wow. And that sort of exposed Ngannou for what he is as a professional boxer. He's now had 2 fights in the professional game and 2 losses. I know we thought the first one was close and he potentially won against Fury, but his record says he's 0-2. And I've got to be honest, I didn't think Anthony Joshua would have done that to Ngannou. I didn't think Ngannou was at all fragile. I'm not saying he's fragile around the chin because he got hit with a real big shot. But I didn't think it had gone down and out so early. But when you look at how he got hit with that right hand, he had a lazy jab. It was almost coming square on. His chin was in the air with that lazy jab. AJ was able to just time that jab, do a little slip to the right, and then just tee off with that big right hand. He couldn't miss. And then when the ref called the fight again in round 2, AJ just teed him up a little bit, and Ngannou didn't move, just looked at him, and boss, straight on the chin, fight over. I was shocked that AJ was able to do that to Ngannou, but looking back on it, and in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, what do you expect a former 2-time heavyweight champion, who's an Olympic gold medalist, two-time champ, has been in there with some decent fighters, AJ. You look at his CV, it stacks up against the best for this era. So we expected nothing different, really. We must be stupid for thinking Ngannou had a chance, but I've got to give AJ credit myself. I really do have to say, listen, Anthony Joshua performed really well because he would have been going into that fight thinking, this guy's bigger than me, stronger than me. He's just gone 10 rounds of Fury, so he's obviously decent. I don't think AJ would have expected that. And I thought he was really classy as well when he won. I thought he spoke well, he didn't show off, he wasn't really nonchalant or anything, he was respectful. He gave Rob McCracken and his former trainers a bit of credit. I just thought it was overall a really, really good night for Anthony Joshua, not to mention the 50 million quid that he banked. I just think it was a great night for him. I think he's winning the fans over, good performance, can't fault him. But I know what you're saying about is he back? It's difficult based on the people he's boxed, Franklin, Helenius, Otto Wallin, and now a 2-0 professional novice. He's just knocked out a novice in 2 rounds, which is what we'd expect him to do.
So when I say like Joshua back, I mean, it's almost disrespectful to say, oh yeah, this is because you were so good before. When, you know, there was always question marks over his rawness. You know, like there was a slight novice element to him when he was coming through, even by the time he wins a world title. And then when he gets beat by Ruiz, everyone's saying, oh, we knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. So I can see why he's getting frustrated, and people say, "Oh, Joshua, you just got to go in there and let your hands go. Just be a big, strong guy." But there's much more to it. Like, there's much, much more to it, and I think he's boxing better than ever. But at the same time, as you say, Carl, he's fought better people in the past than the last two guys on paper. But that was one hell of a knockout.
So when AJ's in with Ngannou, he's in there with a guy who really shouldn't be in there with him. It's ridiculous. It's dangerous. And Ngannou paid the price. He obviously got paid. He got paid handsomely. And he's coming off the back of the Fury loss. But I can't say it's the best knockout I've ever seen, because you've got a guy who's a proven world champion professional boxer against a guy who shouldn't really be in there. And I'll always stand by that. Ngannou should not have been in the ring with Anthony Joshua. And that's what I would have expected to happen on paper. But obviously we was all under the spell of Fury's bad performance. Yes, AJ can feel confident, feel happy, and feel that he's on the right path to go on there and carry on and do great things in the game. But you have to say to yourself, does he beat Alexander Usyk? He's already lost to him twice. He's had 24 rounds of him. I'd like to see an Anthony Joshua that firing on all cylinders, confident like he was the other night against Ngannou, because he could have been a bit tentative round 1 and 2, and he wasn't. He just got straight down to business. He was teeing the right hand up, throwing it and landing it. So if he came out against Usyk with that kind of confidence, that'd be interesting. But I can't get too carried away, because he's knocked out a one-fight novice. And that's unfortunately what the records will always say. Look at Francis Ngannou's records on BoxRec. Have a look what he's done. He's had 2 fights as a professional. He's lost to Tyson Fury, and now he's been badly knocked out by Anthony Joshua. And I don't think he should be in the professional ring again. He ain't got time to build up. He's nearly 40 years old. He ain't got time to build up as a pro. He's made plenty of money. That was a bad knockout. Probably took a few years off his bloody life, because that was a proper bamboozle. He got banjoed. He was out cold before he hit the floor. And that's going to have some damaging effects, because not just mentally, but physically, that's a bad one at that age. I don't recommend getting flattened like that. I mean, it's never happened to me, but you can kind of relate to getting knocked out. Obviously, it don't feel good. It can't be good for you mentally. And obviously, you're sharp now and on the ball. And I'm proud of you, and I admire you, and I've got a lot of credit and respect for you, even though it's a backhanded compliment, because you're thinking, why is he talking about me getting chinned again? But I think you know what I mean. I don't think Ngannou should be in a professional ring again.
So that's it. No future for Ngannou in boxing?
I don't think so, no. I really don't think he's got a future in boxing. Do you? Do you think he's got a future in professional boxing?
Yeah, it's one of them ones, Carl, isn't it? So he's getting paid an obscene amount of money for a novice pro. And he's had that fight with Fury the first time around, where it's giving him value. But that value only lasts as long until you get wiped out. So if he'd gone 10 rounds but been beaten pretty much systematically by Joshua, it would have been comfortable for him to go again. You go, oh, well, maybe he's learning, maybe he's getting better. You get wiped out in less than 2 rounds. He's lost that. So then you're thinking, well, what next for Ngannou? Does he fight a Wilder? Does he fight a Dubois? Does he fight? He might have one more roll of the dice for me, you know. And if he does better than he did in his performance against Joshua, then they might say, oh, well, we'll keep him going. We'll keep rebuilding him because he's a big name. But you wouldn't put him in with a Zhang or a Parker or, you know, one of them guys who can box, hard night's work for anyone, but they're not going to create that sort of fandom pay-per-view type fight.
No.
So
I think now he's been chinned and he's been done, and been wiped out. I don't think there's an interest in seeing him fight any of the others. I don't think there's an interest. He's been knocked out in 2 rounds by Anthony Joshua, who's lost to Usyk. I think it's all about Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. Now Anthony Joshua is properly in the mix. I don't think he's a front runner, but he's banging the mix. Tyson Fury's got a lot to prove after that performance of Ngannou. Obviously, Alexander Usyk is what he is. He's the cream of the crop. I'm picking him to beat Fury, but I think Fury could still beat Usyk. He really could. But moving on from Ngannou, who I think should take my advice, not that he's going to even bloody listen to this, maybe he will. Maybe he's a big fan of the verdicts, and maybe he's a fan of the Cobra. But I don't think he should be getting in a professional boxing ring again. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, what do you think about him fighting next? And in terms of, he's got a bit of time to wait now, because Fury's going to be fighting Usyk. They've got a rematch clause. He might be fighting him twice. What does he do in the meantime? Would you put him in with someone like Filip Hrgovic, which could be for the IBF title. And if you would, how do you think he'd get on?
Yeah, so Hrgovic, good fighter, been there or thereabouts. I feel like we've been talking about Hrgovic for an awful long time, but he's got this IBF mandatory position that he's in now. He'll no doubt be waiting for that as an opportunity. And does he want to fight an Anthony Joshua without the belt? I don't think so. I think he'd rather have an easy fight and challenge for a world title. And whether he'll hope, I'm sure, that he'll get a chance to fight the winner of Usyk Fury if that fight happens. But if those two are signing for 2 fights and they're going to do it, then they do it. Joshua, you imagine, needs another fight before he gets a chance to fight the winner of Usyk Fury, or even if Fury gets beat, just fight Fury. I think that might be an option. You know, I think if Usyk does beat Fury, and Fury gets just as much money, if not more, to fight for no belts and fight Joshua, that might be the route they go down. But Joshua will no doubt want to have another fight in between. To Joshua's credit, he has sort of fought everyone who's sort of been thrown his way throughout the years. I know it's hard at times to find an opponent, and you know, when they do crop up like a mandatory, I was surprised he took that mandatory against Usyk. I thought is that the right fight for you right now? But to his credit, he's taken him. But in terms of who it would be, I'm not sure. We're talking about Parker again now, because Parker's in great form. He's had 2 big wins. I don't think that's right. Would they buy like a keep busy fight, and Joshua versus Wilder, which has always been that fight that they've spoke about for 5+ years now, and it hasn't manifested.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
you're talking about AJ fighting Fury if Fury loses to Usyk, but he'll have to lose to him twice, or lose that badly. There's no rematch. He doesn't execute the rematch clause. He could lose to Usyk, then not execute the rematch clause, then just have a payday with AJ. But that'd be a fight for second place, wouldn't it? That'd be the winner of that fight is still second best in the world, because Usyk's still going to be there.
With these guys, I mean, like, you know, they've both, Fury and Joshua, have been, and obviously Fury still is a world champion. You know, some stuff can maybe become more important for him. I mean, Joshua against Ngannou is only a payday. It's only a payday. He doesn't need to do it to build his brand. He doesn't need to do it to improve his ranking. The best part of it was that it was a 1-up on Tyson Fury, because he knocks him out in 2 rounds when Fury couldn't.
AJ's now got the upper hand. Tyson Fury looked shocked. He even looked a little bit scared to me. He gave him a round of applause, and he was looking around. He looked a little bit... He looked like he'd seen a ghost. I think he was in shock, Tyson Fury.
That's awkward for him, isn't it? Like, how do you... You've got to put on that front and clap and say everything's great, but inside, he must have been frustrated, to say the least, to think,
he might have been frustrated. Do you think he'd have been worried? Do you think he'd have been thinking, I've just gone 10 rounds with that geezer, give me an hard fight and drop me? AJ's just gone in there and absolutely flattened him. And AJ looks the part, doesn't he? AJ looks the business. He's tall, big, strong, in shape, massive arms in, big shoulders, big chest, 8-pack. He's like he's been chiselled out of a bloody rock. It's like a Greek god. He's just like... And Tyson Fury's sitting there, putting a bit of weight on, putting a bit of timber around his love handles, pulled out of that fight with that cut. Everyone's giving him stick. Now he's got to fight Usyk. Has that performance from Anthony Joshua against Ngannou, has that changed your opinion on how you think the fight with him against Tyson Fury plays out?
Well, yeah, because it's got to put a cat amongst the pigeons, to say the least, Cole, hasn't it? Because Joshua looks like he's sort of in form. He's gelling well with Ben Davison. He's, you know, he speaks highly of him. He looks like he's punching hard with the right intent. And Fury, you know, maybe, as you say, maybe the legs are a little bit older now, and it's a little bit tougher, a little bit harder. And if he does go through with that fight against Usyk, that might, you know, take its toll on him. And people are talking about the Deontay Wilder fights maybe are sort of catching up with Fury now, but he's had a long, great career, you know, and he's operated at the top. He's dealt with the pressures of that, and of course, he's been in and out of shape throughout that time as well, which isn't ideal. And I think if them two were scheduled to fight in the next 3 months, it'd be hard to pick. It would be hard to pick. You're thinking, you know, Fury will have the skill to not get hit, to not get hit. Like, I mean, against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua just won't be able to land the sort of right hands he was landing on Ngannou against Fury, but maybe he will. Maybe he will. And I think if he hits Fury, he certainly hurts him. He's definitely capable of getting rid of him. As you say, Fury's been down many, many times in his career. He's always bounced back up. And even that shot that Ngannou knocked him down, it's weird. He gets caught and he almost looks and tries to catch himself. I was thinking, when you caught me, Carl, I had no chance of reaching out with an arm to try and brace my fall. Like, the lights were gone. So
yeah, it was the same for me in that first fight with you. I didn't have time to break the fall. My the floor broke my fall.
Yeah,
but I know what you mean. Fury got caught with that hook off Ngannou, and he did. He braced himself, got up, and he got up to win a close fight.
You know, straight after the fight, when you're maybe a little bit charged from the action you've seen, and obviously the biasness kicks in straight away. You finish watching Joshua and then sort of prowling around after, you're like, oh, if they put him in with Fury next week, like, he would eat him up. Fury's got no chance. Like, but then by the time the fight's set and made and we're talking about it and we're analysing each fight and what they do well, it would be probably hard to pick them. But I think Joshua's certainly in much better form than Fury, obviously since his Ngannou fight, but also it was a year before then he was boxing, a subpar Derek Chisora. Many times Fury hasn't looked brilliant, but he's dined out on them Wilder wins. So I think maybe I'd pick Joshua to beat Fury right now.
Anthony Joshua was never going to have it so easy in a big fight like that, because it was a big fight, because it was in Saudi, it was big money, and it was a prelim or an eliminator, if you like, for potentially for the undisputed. Right, well, that's it for another episode of The Verdict. Thank you very much to George Groves. And whilst we've got you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel. Leave your comments. We have a look through them. And we'll see you next time on The Verdict.